Welcome to the first episode of In the Groove. I'm Jordan Mulach, and in this episode we'll be analysing the career of Mark Webber. I've chosen Mark because he's always been an underrated Australian sports star who went through adversity to get to the top of his chosen sport. We'll be basing this analysis on his 2015 autobiography, Aussie Grit, released in the middle of last year. Sports delivery systems are in place to help potential future athletes to go from amateurs to professionals, to climb up the ranks to get to their nominated end goal in their sport. According to Shilbury and Kellett Sport Management Australia, page 22, the natural progression of sport goes from a club to a district, state, national and international level to get from the bottom to the top. This can be different for some sports, but will be a key focus of this analysis. We'll be looking at the rise of his career, how he moved up from small local competitions to win national titles, resulting in a subsequent move to Europe that brought further success over a long time period. Like most sports, motorsport requires certain pathways to reach an athlete's end goal. For Webber, this goal was reaching Formula 1. In motorsport, it is easy for an athlete to show off their skills as it is structured like a ladder format. The ongoing nature of a motorsport season gives multiple chances for an individual to shine. Let's take a look from the beginning and see how that enabled his career to progress to the pinnacle of his achievements. Like many athletes, Webber was influenced by his parents, mainly his father, to take up sport, in this case, motorsport. Although he had originally been interested in bikes as a child, Webber's first four-wheel race was in 1991 when he was just 14 years old. This was in the New South Wales Karting Championship, a championship that he won in 1993, moving up to the Australian Formula Ford Series in 1994, moving up to the second step on his pathway to success. Success came from Webber in the Formula Ford Series, earning him more experience, but importantly, more exposure. It was in 1995 that he secured a few race wins in the Australian Formula Ford Championship, also signing a 7-year deal with the Yellow Pages for sponsorship, something that enabled him to go overseas and race there. The inevitable move to Europe came in 1995, with Webber being signed up to race in the 1996 British Formula Ford Championship, an essential step up to the higher formula back then. A second place finish in that championship saw him recognised by Formula 3 teams, giving him his first taste of slicks and wings in 1997. Monetary problems almost sidelined Webber's career, with his father having to ask rugby great and Queensland local Terry Campese to help fund Mark's career. From there, he had a point to prove and finished fourth in the 1997 Formula 3 Championship, gaining interest from many eager onlookers. Mercedes-Benz took an interest in him and signed him to the 1998 sports car program, not Formula 1 like he had hoped. Second in that year's championship on debut of Bernd Schneider put him on the map. 3 highly documented crashes for Mercedes, 2 including Webber, in the 1999 Le Mans 24-hour race, saw Mercedes pull the plug on their sports car campaign. This left Webber out to dry and looking for a drive for 2000. At the end of 1999, Webber scored his first Formula 1 drive in a test for the Arrows team. He remained their test driver for the 2000 season, also driving with their Formula 3000 team. Issues with the team in that year forced him to move to a similar agreement with the Benetton team in 2001, claiming second in the Formula 3000 Championship and winning the prestigious Monaco round. This lined him up for his first career start in Formula 1. In 2002, he made his Formula 1 debut with Minardi at the Australian Grand Prix, a race that would dominate local papers for the next few days. From there on, the rest is highly documented history. He stayed in Formula 1 for 11 seasons, driving for Jaguar, Williams and finally Red Bull Racing, winning 9 races and finishing third in the championship in 2010, 11 and 13. In 2014, he signed to the rebirth of Porsche's sports car program, joining the World Endurance Championship. He finished 9th in that first year and last year won the championship with his teammates, his first championship overseas and becoming the first Australian driver since 1980 to win in a FIA sanctioned series internationally. During his time in Australia, Webber would have had to deal with what is now the Confederation of Australian Motorsport, or CAMS, who issue licensing and accreditation within Australia. Being a national sporting organisation, CAMS is essentially Australia's off-branch of the FIA, which is Motorsport's international governing body. When he moved to Europe, he was no longer under the sanction of CAMS and instead under bigger sanctions of the... In terms of sport delivery systems, I believe the author, being Webber himself obviously, had and always has a good understanding of sports delivery systems. Not only for how he got to where he was, but how to get from the start of his career to the end of it. While I didn't totally touch on it, he had success in the 1996 British Formula Ford season, but really shone at that year's Formula Ford Festival at Brands Hatch, which had a totally different format to the rest of the season, being like a knockout format where heats of drivers would progress to a final race. He won that final race and became one of many drivers to take out the Formula Ford Festival to then go on to Formula One. He and his management team totally understood what it would take to get to their end goal and knew the paths that they had to go down to get to that one goal. Personally, I had a lot of prior knowledge about Webber before doing this analysis, but that didn't stop me going in with open eyes. I learned that sometimes you have to deviate what you want to do and the paths that you think you have to take to actually get to that end goal. And as much as some of us like to think, motorsports are pretty much the same in their formats. Just like the EPL, the one with the most points at the end of the season is the winner. Simple. Even though there has always been some form of criticism, sometimes there is no perfect way to deliver the sport. I certainly couldn't think of any improvements. It all seems to be done pretty well as is. In summary, the sports delivery systems in place for motorsport helped Mark Webber by rewarding his success with further opportunities which snowballed from there. He was able to get from basic local district competitions, i.e. the New South Wales Karting Championship, to the pinnacle of world motorsport, Formula One and the World Endurance Championship. These things would not have put him on the map like he is now, and the pathways that he took then and that many others took are actually slightly different to those taken now. However, if you look at the success rates, Webber was very lucky to make it all the way from being a little boy from Queanbeyan all the way to the top of world motorsport.